everyone. It's Ryan of the California Conventions blog and Dalton as well. We are here with the legendary voice actor Karen Strassman. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
So I'll go ahead and start off. Being a prolific voice actor as yourself, was there ever a franchise or series that you never got the chance to voice but ever wanted to have the opportunity to do so?
That's a really good question. That's a hard question. Let me think about that. Ask me that at the end.
Of course.
And I'll see if I can come up with a good answer.
Yeah. How about so you voiced Geass in Persona 3 as well as Nanako in Persona 4. However, you're not in Persona 5. Like your voice is missing in there.
Oh, thank you. I actually am in Persona 5.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed, honestly.
I am. I do a bunch of what they call various voices. I do a bunch of different voices, so I actually am in there.
Okay, you're just not a part of the main cast.
I'm just not a main cast. But
okay.
Atlas, for that particular game, they decided that they wanted new actors and they wanted to just kind of switch around their cast. So I don't think they really had any of the main characters, and because I'd been in 3 and 4, they wanted to back off my voice. But they did invite me to be part of it. I did do some smaller voices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Here's another good one. How did you go from voicing Geass, who is a anti-shadow android, pretty much emotionless, to a point of going over to Nanako in Persona 4 and being this little chipper young kid? How were you able to do that?
Well, they're just different parts. You know, I think as actors and voiceover actors, we just visit different parts of our schizophrenia.
Very true.
And so I guess there was a stillness, and there's a place that I go to where Geass lives. That is correct, yes?
Yes.
And then for Nanako, I just go to the little girl inside myself.
Oh,
and
okay.
so technically, the voice is placed up a little higher up there. So technically, I'll place my voice higher, more in my head voice, even more. And then I'll just go to the real little girls. So if I just go to the little girl inside myself, and then that part of myself, it just really comes alive. And if I had a big brother, I would go to the feeling of love that I would have for a big brother if I had one. But Nanako does have one.
Thank you so much.
So it's kind of like you just travel into that part of your spirit.
Okay.
/ schizophrenia.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. I like it. Multiple personalities, which is nice. Okay.
So I talked to you yesterday at the autograph signing, and we were talking about Colin for a little bit. I actually do have a Colin question I'd like to ask.
Yes.
You recently reprised your role as Colin Kanzuki in the Resurrection of movie that came out recently. Were there any challenges going back into the role as the former Black Knight's turned UFN operative 10 years later?
No. No challenges. Just delight. We spent a long time recording the series, and the series was about 10 years ago, I guess. And I worked with Kevin Seymour, who is no longer with us on this planet, but he was a wonderful, wonderful director. And he did something where he wouldn't tell us what was going to happen next. So sort of, like the characters themselves, were really living in the moment. And so I never knew what would happen with Colin next. And it really got me very, very present to her. And it's just, I think when we do characters, especially if we do them over a period of time, they become a part of us, or even like a really close friend. And I have a lot of affection for her. She lived inside of me for a little while, and so she's still kind of there, and when I got to reprise her 10 years later, it was just, they played the ref, and I saw her on screen, and it was just, I just dove right into her skin, and it was like it was like seeing an old friend that you haven't seen for a long time, and you just pick up where you left off.
Of course, yeah.
And it was just like that with her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of old friends, did you interact with any of the other Code Geass voice actors during recording of the initial release of the movie back in April, such as Johnny Young Bosch or Yuri Lowenthal?
Well, we didn't get to act together. We got to see each other in the lobby and hug each other and catch up a little bit.
Okay.
And at the premiere, we got to be together and be interviewed and all those things. But for the movie itself, we're each in the studio alone with the engineer, with the director, and just focusing on our character. But I did get to see them in the lobby.
We appreciate that.
Okay, so you were young Casville Ren Dekun in Mobile Suit
Gundam Origins.
Gundam Origins.
Yeah.
As Gundam celebrates its 40th anniversary, how does it feel to lend a voice to such a legendary series?
I feel honored.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
And when I was asked to do it, I just I was just excited because it's just fun to be part of, an iconic series like that.
Of course.
And I like doing boy voices, and I like doing realistic boy voices, and so that was a lot of fun, and I hope I did him justice.
Okay. Yeah, you got it.
Let's see. With the TV series of all the TV series that are recently getting rebooted, you had a role in Weeds, and we were wondering, will there ever be a time in the show that Weeds should, you feel it should get a reboot, or that you could reprise your role as in a reboot?
I just read about that this morning, and I got really excited about it. And I'm excited for them that they're rebooting. I would love for Jolene to come back and make an appearance. I was in season 7, and I was supposed to be in season 8. They invited me back, and I was all excited. And a week or two before shooting, the producer called my agent and said, "We're so sorry. But we have so many storylines we have to tie up in season 8 that there's just no room for the storyline that Jolene was in." And she says, "We love Karen. We wanted to bring her back," which was really kind of them to say. But it was just, there was no time in tying up all the loose ends. So, Jolene is alive and well somewhere. She hasn't been killed off or anything.
That's good.
So I think it'll just depend on what storylines they bring into it, and if my character would be relevant to any of those. But I would, that was so much fun to do, and I would absolutely love to be part of it again, if at all possible.
Nice.
If I can ask another role about a reprisal, you were a writer in the original Fatestay Night series. Were you ever contacted for the Heaven's Feel movies at all? No?
No, I only found out after the fact that somebody else had done the voice. I don't even remember who did it, but I found out after the fact, and I thought, well, that's strange, especially because Ryder has been a fan favorite, like people are. So I don't know how that happened or why, or I know they changed up a lot of actors in that show. It wasn't just me, so I know it wasn't personal, or maybe it was, but so I really don't know anything about that. And usually, like, if I don't reprise a role, or I don't usually dig too much into it. Like, I assume that people have their reasons, and if I'm on the edge of it and I'm hearing that it's being cast and I can get cast again, I'll obviously try and do that. But I don't know what went into that decision, and I was sad, but I don't know what went into it or what happened. I don't even know if it was recorded in Texas, in which case I live in Los Angeles, so they might have just gotten somebody local. I don't know. I don't know if it was, so.
Go ahead, Dalton.
Yeah, I'll just go with this one. In 2018, you had a role in the anime Skip Beat, which was funded by Kickstarter. Did providing the voices to a project that was crowdfunded feel any different than what you're normally doing?
Not any different
No?
at all.
Okay.
The only difference that I can recall is that they gave me some swag while we were recording.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah. Okay.
And that usually doesn't happen.
Oh, well, hey.
But otherwise, no, there's absolutely no difference.
Okay,
for me.
cool.
If I could ask another call-in question, with the more like the reboot series, or at least the reboot movies before Resurrection, do you feel like it ever kind of changed like her character up any different than the original series?
Yeah, and she was different, but at the same time, it was so many years later, and she'd lived through, you know, tragedies, and she's wiser and older and has a different perspective on life. So, I mean, I think is different in that way, you know, as we all become different when we're older. There's, you know, you know, you can tell she's older. You can tell there's more of a world weariness to her. She's less trusting. She doesn't have the same energy, but it still feels like Colin. It just feels like Colin who's lived a lot, you know.
I get you. And back to my first question, if you can, if you could be in a voice actor or do a role for another character in an anime that's like say like Gundam, or at least like that you didn't get the chance to do, who or what series would you want to do?
I don't know. It would be fun to be one of the leads in Sailor Moon, just because that's so popular. It would be fun to be in. I would have loved to be in the original cast of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
I think that would be at the top of my list.
Yes.
I think I'd go with that because that's so iconic, you know.
I love Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
Okay.
I think that's all the questions we have. Karen Strassman, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Those were great questions.
Yeah. We had to do a lot of research.
They were really great questions. I mean, they weren't like your typical question.
Yeah.
I love that when that happens and it's like, oh wow, that's a great question.
You gotta think a little bit.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Well, thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Yeah.